What's going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. Welcome to a brand new Poker Live podcast. My name's Joey Vermont, aka Chicago Joey, coming to you live and direct in person today from GTO Studios here in Las Vegas, California. Remember, the podcasts are on iTunes. Search Poker Live Podcast. I also do a show Monday nights on Live at the Bikes Twitch and YouTube channel, 9 p.m. Eastern time. 9 p.m. Eastern time. Check that out every Monday night as well. Schedule for this week, we're having on one of the super high roller bowl players, a woman who's been playing on the Poker After Dark cash games. She's going to be playing this week with Doug Polk and company. Lauren Roberts. I know a lot of people out there, have questions about Lauren, where'd she come from, who is she? So we're going to have her on the podcast. I think it's going to be on Wednesday. And then my buddy John Beaupre on Thursday, talking all about the great game, Pot Omaha. John, longtime high stakes Pot Omaha player, joining me today on the podcast is a young man. Been around the poker world I feel like he's been around the poker world for 35 years, even though he's not even 35 years old. He's been playing the high stakes for quite a long time, probably since I started playing poker. And then he decided randomly to start doing some poker commentary, and is debatably, I don't know if you agree or disagree, debatably one of the best poker commentators in terms of discussing. He's a very humble man, and I'm happy to be joined by Nick Schulman. What's up, Nick?
Great to be here, man.
Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I first met you. I met you on the Poker After Dark set. Yeah. I can't remember why I went over there. I just went over to say what's up to some people, and I chatted with you, and you're like, oh man, I love the pod. I was like, well, let's do this.
Yeah,
let's do a pod then,
I feel like I knew you already. It's a weird thing, but yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, phone might not be working correctly, so I hope that is not true or not. So let me make sure, guys. We are live here, so I'm going to fix this microphone issue real quick here, and try to get this going. I have this little Yeti microphone sometimes, and it does not necessarily end up being GTO. So we'll kind of see what happens here. I think we have audio sweet. Is that true? The audio is actually good? You guys tell me if the audio is good. I'll just keep it like this then. So sounds good to me. All right, well, cool. Let's kind of, whatever. Let's just roll with that then. What are you selling? All right, calm down. But I guess we kind of get into, just from like a backstory perspective. When people say like, oh, like you play poker, okay, like what do you tell them at this point in time? Like,
I'm a professional poker player, and then the depending on who you're talking to, the question, can you really make a living at that? Yeah, I try, what do you do? I usually defer. It's a hard thing to explain to non-poker players, and obviously other poker players sort of know the drill. So
yeah, I mean, it's obviously, I feel like now at this point it doesn't have such a bad stigma when you, especially in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. It's not even the stigma. I mean, I don't hide it, but it's just one of those things. Sometimes there's follow-up questions that I think can still infer, like, what is it? But is it just for fun? That's all you do? But what do you do for work? And then no, that is what I do for work. Yeah, but hey, what's the biggest pot you've won? What's the biggest? Yeah, I don't know. What's the craziest thing that happened at your job? It's just, I like to keep it nice and short.
Yeah, I feel like you get that question a lot when people say, oh, like, how much do you win or lose? Like, what's the biggest pot you played?
It's funny when you play poker for a living and you talk to people that don't. I feel like not that this really like offends me. It's not a thing, but often they'll really start to pry in a way that you wouldn't about someone else's job.
Yeah,
but I'm not complaining, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, poker is obviously like I think once you play it, you realize it can be really fun. It can be a great lifestyle when you're winning at the game, of course. If you're losing at the game, I don't quite know what you think. I kind of wrote something earlier this week on my Twitter and Instagram about when I was 21, 22. Yeah, I used to go to the casino, lose all my money, and want to go drive up the fucking bridge on the way home. And a lot of people seem to relate to that feeling quite well. They're like, oh yeah, that's like me right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it takes a long time to be centered with swings and the comings and goings of poker, but even still, there's things kind of beyond our control. We get very attached to the results, and I certainly can relate to that feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I posted a clip earlier today of a clip you were on, like this MTV documentary called World of Jenks, where he followed you around Vegas for about 20 minutes. I think it was during the World Series of Poker. So you end up going to London, you played the main event, you talked about you kind of got into some little things in there in terms of like, the clip I posted was specifically about, like gambling addiction and being a millionaire at 21 and then being just so addicted to that feeling of winning a lot of money, which makes complete sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a journey for sure. I mean, I didn't seek the high stakes really. I did, but it happened kind of without realizing it. And I think I was more just, it takes time. There's to play high stakes poker, to gamble for those numbers, to be young, to kind of be in it just for the love of the game. I think there's levels of like escapism to it. You have your issues in life maybe, and for me, poker and the rest of my life were too intertwined when I was younger. And it's not to say that poker isn't who I am in all ways now, but back then, yeah, I think I rode the highs and I rode the lows, and it's not a good recipe for being a professional, certainly, and having some staying power, but it took me time.
How many years do you think that took you? Because kind of, I feel like a lot of people I know, I was certainly that way, where no matter whatever happened in poker was how I was, that was my attitude, that was my mood. Outside of that for years, that's kind of how I was. And I don't exactly know how I got over that, but at some point in time I was like, oh, it doesn't, like, it makes sense, but it necessarily doesn't make that much sense to do this. So like, I kind of just got over it a little bit, and now when I lose, it's like 20-30 minutes, and then I sort of I forget about it. Yeah,
I think it took me some time just thinking about who I kind of want to be as opposed to who I am, and how I want to carry myself, and kind of just how I want to live. I'd like for poker to be a part of my life for a long time. I love to play. I love the journey of trying to improve. I like the high stakes, but it's not, I don't need to be in the high stakes, but I do need to challenge myself in a sort of very real way, and I strive off the work ethic. And if we live and die by each result, it is very hard to enjoy this life, to feel, thankful for this life. I'm very grateful now to be playing, and it's helped soften me today. I just try to pursue the right answers. I try to leave as much emotion as I can away from the table and really be a professional. It's taken me some time, for sure.
So how do you feel like you do at that standpoint? Let's say 1 out of 20, right? Where are you at with that right now? Because I think theoretically we all like to get to that point where
I'm on a little heater too, Joe. Everybody's all centered when they're on a heater. You just want to find the right answers. Believe me, it's a few pots don't go my way, I'll the wheels will come right off. No, I try. I try to be realistic. I try to be objective. And I try to analyze the kind of comings and goings of the day-to-day poker life that I have, and put forth my best effort at the table. If bad beats come my way, or if I have an off session where I don't play great and I'm not happy, whatever it may be, some loss that I'm taking hard, I'll take it very hard sometimes, but it's directed towards myself. I don't get like a sadness of the kind of like of the world like I used to, where I'm running bad and it's just like, you don't understand what I'm going. I try to think I've for the most part grown a bit out of that. You can't just be on a perpetual bad run. You need to look at the things you can fix. You need to look at the things you can do better, and you need to be honest with yourself, and that's what I try to do. And it helps mitigate the pain of one loss or one hand, but it's still there for sure. I have my moments. Yeah.
Do you feel like that impacts the way that you then play when you, maybe your next session or the next time you play, and you might take a bad beat, or you might just lose like a standard sort of hand? Do you feel like that impacts your overall game that you play? You might go from A minus to potentially B plus or B minus because of the way you're feeling?
I think the way I'm feeling can definitely impact my game, certainly, without a doubt. I try to have a methodology to the way I play poker. So, if I'm not feeling my best mentally or something of this nature, I can compensate sometimes. When I was younger, I think I would tend to take a more passive approach at the table than I would like if I was struggling mentally or with things, or overcompensate. Fuck these guys. Let me show you something. For now, it's like, because one thing that I have in me for like a good player, a high stakes player, whatever. Every once in a while, if I'm in a really bad mood, like and especially in limit poker, like say some stud situation, like every once in a while, I'll just be like, fuck this hand. And then I'll be like, wait a second, I was getting some pretty good pot odds there. Like, what's going on? But I'm in a bad mood.
Right.
I don't feel like anything will work out. And every time that happens, I take one. I really like remind myself, you must consider the hand for the hand always, you know, and that's what I try to do.
Yes. Are you mainly playing the big mix games and limit games, or do you play some of the big bet games as well too in that mix?
Both. It's in Bobby's room. It's usually a 10-game mix of no limit PLO, no limit single draw, and then a bunch of limit games. The mix changes a little bit, but it's usually some limit and some big bet.
So it's no limit Omaha, or is it?
No limit and PLO.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, no limit
PLO.
Well,
there's some people I know that.
Yeah, no
like,
limit Omaha.
They play in a mix. They play like a small cap for no limit Omaha. Like, I mean, I've played some no limit Omaha online. It's very strange, very.
It's
weird.
It's kind of a weird game.
Very
it doesn't. Yeah, it sort of doesn't make sense, that game. But but like any game, there's cool stuff you can start doing. You know, if no limit Omaha got popular, the strategy would unfold.
That game's so frustrating when the guy just starts showing all in every time. It's like, oh my gosh, and you have to start calling whatever. It's kind of it can be kind of crazy. So it seems like you've been playing that game for like, I don't know, how many years you've been playing that game. That's been your main game for a while.
I've been in there for over 10 years now. Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. I don't, you know, I'm kind of just doing it. I rarely stop and think about it as, you know, for what it is. I mean, I kind of just go and play. But it is something that is interesting. You know, I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to sound like too nice a guy or something, but I'm just grateful to be there. I want to work hard. I want to challenge myself. And I know the series of events that have led to me being where I am now are you know, I'm just thankful to be there, and I try to keep working hard is my outlook. So
how much of a challenge do you think it still is for you to be there? Because I imagine if you're 10 years, you're probably winning in the game. And obviously when we win for a prolonged period of time, that sense of challenge starts to decrease because we've already sort of accomplished that, we've achieved that. And it seems like you're someone that feeds off of that sort of challenge and desire to get better.
You know, poker is an ever-evolving game, you know, like everything. I mean, you can't really be content that the player you are is just good enough for forever. You know, I always strive to get better. There's always new players that come in and out of Bobby's room, new challenges. You know, the older players try to better themselves. You know, we change as players. We adapt to both the way each other are playing and poker in general, poker theory, whether it's GTO principles, whether it's other sort of modeling kind of things that one can do away from the table. Whatever your preparation may be, it's about growth, it's about longevity, and you know, I just like the pursuit. You know, I like the journey, and I have kind of sort of not really a group, but a few people that I work intimately with on my game. One friend who I've been very close with for 15 years. We met online. We met like in a sit and go online 15 years ago. We started, you know, IMing, and we became very close. His name's Dave. He lives in Texas, and he's just and we work together on poker. And I've always bounced ideas off him, but lately I've you know, sort of utilized his ideas, and I don't know kind of the right way to put it, but the point is, it's a journey. I have another friend I work intimately with in New York who I have for years, and you know, I like to challenge myself and cultivate new ideas and just understand that if you know enough about poker, you know, you don't really know that much. You know, there's more things to memorize. There's more things to upload into ourselves as players. There's more experience to be had. You know, we try to solve a riddle of every hand every time we're out there, and this is some really difficult work, and I respect it, and I respect the game. And a lot of this is in the last few years, I'd say. My approach to this is you know, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so, where I really look at it this way. But it's overcompensating now towards the objective side, because I had a lot of years in denial as a player. You know, I began my career as a field player. So I just sort of arrived. It's like I had good pattern recognition. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what's going on, maybe. I don't know. I'm here. I'm a pro, I guess. I play no limit at the highest stakes. But the insecurities started to mount as better players appeared, and all of a sudden I see, wow, they're really confident with like 10 bigs. I don't know what the fuck is going on with 10 bigs. Your jack 8 suited, cut off. I don't know. Where do I learn this, right? And then I try, and I learn, and I memorize, and then other spots show themselves. Now 20 bigs, 30 bigs, cap games, 100 bigs, deep step, this and that, limit, all the nuances of all the little limit games. There's a lot of shit you don't know, you know, and this has always been at the crux what has enamored me about poker. All these things I don't know. It's inspiring every day to try to improve, and that's my kind of approach.
What do you think is, what do you think's like, if you think about a spot now or a game right now that you're maybe focusing on working, getting better at, whether that's No Limit, maybe the Poker Masters, you just played that, obviously you won an event in there too. So is it maybe more focused on No Limit, or is it maybe more focused on one of the limit games that you play?
I like to direct the bulk of my work towards No Limit. I think that if you work on No Limit, you naturally kind of enhance at the other games. I think if you work on any game, you can apply that work to other games, but there is sort of real world kind of seasoning that you need in those games, what have you. I've been playing the mixed games for so long. I definitely don't want to get stagnant in them or my approach, so I will look at spots, but I would say I direct most of it towards No Limit, as it's just probably the game that I'm most passionate about at this point, that I really enjoy. But I enjoy all the games, and just poker in general. I try to just improve my, methods, my way of thinking, and I try to approach my life in a way that helps my career poker-wise. So I do some things that I look at as kind of cross-training things. It's all, I have this kind of group of people I work with. I view them as like my team. I'm very enamored by like the fighting culture, combat sports, boxing in particular. I love that team. I love like feeling accountable. When I go out and play, man, I do it for people that put a lot of time into creating ideas for me to use. I appreciate it. I mean, when we study poker and I'll ask all sorts of questions and I'll have ideas and we'll work on it together. Sometimes when I'm playing, it's about more than me, to me. I'm not saving the world out there. We're just a bunch of guys trying to play fucking poker here. You know what I mean? But it helps me, and I like that. I like, I have another friend, Ilya's like family to me, and he started betting on me and staking me when I was 18. He put me in high stakes games and stuff like this. I mean, I don't know where my life would have gone. I'm just at this point in my career, some good things have happened to me. I'm playing well, I'm commentating, I'm fucking, it's Bobby's Room was going all right, and I'm just very thankful, that I've had a lot of. It's been a real roller coaster ride, and like, Ilya, like I'm staying with him now. We talk about hands at night. It's just the same old shit, man. And it's like when I'm, he would always have a piece of me, if regardless. It's like, this is real loyalty. These are people I've known for a long time. They mean a lot to me, and I like to kind of go out there and try to get it done for all of us in my own small way.
It sounds like you very much value the idea of being in a team, being with other people, and obviously poker. I mean, it's kind of like that, but at the same time, right. It's not for a lot of people.
I'm a real like kind of not a loner, but I can isolate myself for long periods of time too. So I think it's extra meaningful for me because I don't necessarily have a large circle of people. I have a pretty close-knit group of people, and it's just sort of the way I am. So it is definitely a very isolating sport.
Right.
And it's funny because my friend Dave was a chess player, my friend Ilya was a tennis player. And these are also both very isolating kind of pursuits. But you have your coaches, sometimes in poker we just sort of play. For years I just kind of talked about many hands with many friends who've shaped my views of the game, but at the end of the day, I feel like, I have a real method in place for trying to continue to improve at No Limit Hold'em and keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I know that used to be a very big thing back in the day, where people would have their groups and they would talk hands a lot. And it seems like now it's a lot more. People are more isolated. They've got families now, or they're all in different places. Right. So that's sort of talking together and working on their games on a consistent basis isn't necessarily there as much. And I think that sort of causes people to lose passion to even want to play. And
it's hard. I mean, I don't have a family. I have a dog. And that fucking thing is, you know what I mean? I love that dog. I mean, but it's not a child. It's not a wife. And yeah, you know, it's hard. I think in those situations for those players who have families or have these obligations that some of us don't have, who really pursue maybe the highest levels of whatever, it's just to try to work smarter, not harder, and to really get the most out of your time if you can.
Yeah, Stephen Ricky in the chat says dogs are loyal, and
that's what I'm saying.
That's right, Dave. They're not gonna.
Dogs are loyal.
They're not gonna go fuck your best friend. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. So you know, that's a good thing about especially living in Vegas. I'm sure you meet a lot of people who maybe, you know, they're trying to, I wouldn't say necessarily like directly take advantage of you, but in a lot of ways people here are very much into money, into power, into status, into like the higher stakes sort of lifestyle in life. And
a lot of scumbags here in this Vegas. No, I mean, it's easy to get cynical. You know, I'm a very private person naturally, kind of, and I'm not I'm an introvert. I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, if we're talking about poker, I'm at home. You know, I love it, but real life is a little different for me. And my friends kind of know I'm insane, and I sort of know they're insane, and it just works. You know, every once in a while, if I meet somebody, I'm like, all right, we could be friends, but I'm insane. Like, you just need to know that. You know, I'm not, but you know what I'm saying.
So, I mean, I think things like that all the time too about myself. I'm like, I'm a little fucking crazy. Like, I'm like in my mind all the time, talking, thinking about things.
Right. And I'm very dedicated to my work, you know, and I'm proud of that at this point. It's who I am. I've made peace with it. But it is obsessive by nature, my approach to the game, and I will make sense of the world around me, you know, to kind of complement that. I don't want to, you know, be an all or nothing person. We have to try, but it is a very obsessive pursuit. And my friend circle at this point is kind of mostly people in the poker community, and my friends from outside, I really want to try to reconnect with a little more, because for years you can kind of fall off the grid.
For sure, yeah. I think especially when you're becoming, like, when you have that sort of view at poker where you're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you stay very, very good. It's like you stay at the top, is you have that constant obsession where you're thinking about poker, you know, sometimes 24 hours a day. You're just constantly thinking about a spot, a hand, or whatever. Really impact your desire to have relationships with people that aren't poker related at all, because, like, well, you know, what are we really going to talk about? That's how you can view it, you know, and there probably is things to be gained from a lot of people, but at the same time, you're just so poker centered here. It's like, well,
there are, and I think in poker, often our goal is to, like, make gains, like you said, and I think that sometimes in life, just the connection is the game. You know, if you're with a good person, just connect, just hang out. It doesn't need to be so, you know, it's 6-8 suited, you know, like Holtz goes 2.2 in the middle. It's like, relax a little bit, like, let's just have dinner. Yeah, I don't know who that is, you know, you don't need to tell me about this hand.
I think I'm like 2 years away from that.
Yeah.
I feel like, I think it is with poker, because I think
may never happen. Maybe a constant pursuit of give or take, you know.
Yeah, I think with poker, you're always trying to get better at something, like whether it's how you think about a hand, how you think about a player, how you think about a spot, and you know, if you go out with someone, I guess, then, you know, it's about that.
It's like cute when two poker players who, like, aren't great friends, but, like, pretty friendly go out. And it's like, yeah, you know, where'd you grow up, this and that. So anyway, and then it's like, bang, you know, 90 minutes of hands. It's just like, all right, you know.
Matt Smell in the chat says, Puppy, tell Nick I remember playing 5-5 and No Limit with him at Broadway in Manhattan.
Oh, shit, hey, you know, yeah, I remember those days fondly.
Were you like 13 playing there? Or
I was like 19, 20, even a little bit past that, maybe. Broadway was actually, I think, like my early 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow, it's old school right there.
Yeah, man.
How long ago would you grew up in New York, right?
I grew up in New York City, yeah.
New York City, in
Manhattan, various parts of Manhattan, yeah.
Huh. How was that? You're up there. It's got to be pretty intense. I mean,
it was nice. You know, I can't compare it to growing up anywhere else, but living out here, so much of a quieter life. I do see the differences, and the city's become a little overwhelming for me now. I like here. No, New York City, okay. But I love it. I love to go back and visit. Yeah.
Do you go back there and visit family and
3 months a year? About break it up, but about 3 months a year. Yeah.
Oh. how do you find sort of like breaking up? Because out there, obviously, I assume there's some poker there, but I imagine it's different. The Bobby's room and what you can find there is gonna be different. So how do you approach just now playing poker when you go there?
I do have a friend that I get together with, and we really work on poker a lot when I'm there from a more studious kind of angle. And yeah, I don't really play when I'm there, but I do try to work. That way it feels kind of productive for me. And also sometimes I get away and don't look at poker for a while, which is important too. And that can overlap with sometimes in New York. But yeah, and every once in a while cruise up to AC if there's something going on, see the boys. You know, I used to kind of play there for a long time, so I have friends there. I like to go up there and play from time to time. If I'm in New York for a few weeks, I might swing up there for a weekend.
Yeah, I've actually found that taking a break and I wish I learned this honestly like 7 years ago. But taking a break for myself really helps to reset a lot of my fundamentals. So sometimes when you're downswinging or your confidence isn't high, you just get these little bad habits and spots. You don't even realize that.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah. And then when you come back and you're like, why am I winning? Oh, like even if you're on like even winning could give you these sort of bad habits where it's like you don't even
it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, you know. Sometimes you sit down with a lot of clarity coming off of a break because you're really maybe you're asking yourself the right questions that are why am I a good player, you know, okay, or why am I here, you know, what's my approach, all right, with this and whatever it is, you know, you get back into it. Whereas you said if you're playing too much, the burnout can kind of come by a lot of thoughtless play. You're thinking, but you're so in the zone, it's almost a bad kind of zone. It's weird stuff is corroding like the purity of your poker thought. And for anything, I mean, I used to be a very competitive pool player. Sometimes take 3 weeks off, hop on the table. I'm like, I feel like loose today. I don't know what's going on here, but I feel good. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that just with even other things too, is when you take that break and you go back, I think you're focusing more on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you're like maybe taking a little extra second to think about it.
Yeah. Also the sheer enjoyment. You're back now.
Yeah.
You get a little burnt out. You're like, man, I hate PLO, man. Fuck, I need a break. And then you're like, no, I love it.
Yeah.
No, man, I love this stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, I never did that I wonder if you did that same. Like I played every day for like years. I would take a day off and just like 6 or 7 years straight online, mass tabling every single day, just for and now I'm like I take a month off and I'm I want to play, but at the same time, I can like play and like I'm like, oh, I know I'm doing this bad.
Yeah.
The only way I fix it now is just to.
I definitely had an unhealthy grind like that. I'd say for about 5 to 7 years. I mean, there were very few day off. I mean, it's just unheard of, you know, unthinkable.
I feel like now when you're even here in Vegas, do you feel like you're able to take some more time off and to not necessarily have to play, or you feel like you need to play?
I feel like I've expanded my horizons a bit on what I'm kind of trying to accomplish as a player, and that's to have a balanced life that is tailored around poker improvement, but it isn't this manic like drive that I can't control, because I've had that at times in my life. You know, I've paced around the house like fucking throwing shit around the house, or I've gotten wildly down on myself, and then I'm like, yo, man, they can't fuck with me, dude. Nobody can fuck with me. I'm like, you know, this is not normal, and it's cool, whatever. We are who we are, but you know, I've just tried to be more open-minded to seeing things for what they are, and just approaching things with a little more. I hate to use the word balance, but you know, it's
hard to balance. Hard to be balanced when there's an obsession there too.
Yeah, right. I've tried to model out a way to live that revolves around an obsession that I feel grateful for having. I feel thankful for the things that maybe precluded this obsession. You know, I had some really severe issues with mental health, and I talk about that because anybody who's had that, it's nice to just hear somebody say it. You know, I don't profess to have the answers to that, but if you've been, you know, cripplingly depressed, you know, like I feel you. If you've thought about killing yourself for days on end, like for weeks, months, years, I understand, you know, and a lot of those kinds of things channeled my drive as a player, and you know, or just kind of who I am, and sort of who I've become as a person. And I like to look at the positives of that. Now I'm a little older, and I've, you know, and I don't view myself or my story. You know, I've overcome some personal demons, and I feel thankful for being here. You know, and I mean, you see some people really loses this battle, this war, and you know, I mean, just people need to try to keep their head up and keep things moving forward in a way that makes sense to them. You know, why the fuck not? I mean, let's try. And I mean, there's obviously what, you know, down the street from me, that fucking tragedy that happened last weekend. I mean, I don't know. It's you don't want to complain about like your pride. It's fucked up. There's a lot of things that are fucked up, but you know, it's just for me. I want to have a fairly normal life. You know, I want to be all right. I want to be I want things to sort of make sense in my life. And if you're overdriven to compensate for issues away from your work, you really risk that big crash, you know, when things aren't going well. And now it's a dangerous thing. So I work hard. I feel like I deserve to be there. I don't deserve to win, but I belong there. You know, I belong at these stakes that I play because I put the fucking effort in to be there, you know, every single day. And I put a lot of effort in despite of myself, almost by accident, because it's just the way that I am. And I'm grateful for that, because there have been a lot of times in life where people have been living life and I've been thinking about a hand. So it's like, you know, it's now I seek that balance. Now I seek making up for some of that lost time with a little bit more normalcy. But you know, I'm grateful for that obsessive drive at this point.
Do you ever think about maybe playing, I don't even know if there really are lower stakes for mixed games, but potentially playing lower stakes and then maybe finding something outside of poker that you have sort of passion for that you can pursue? Because if you're not playing the highest stakes where those swings aren't such impactful on your overall bankroll or your overall mindset, then maybe you'll be able to, you know, sort of maybe do something else too that may even.
It's hard, man. I don't know if you can drop down from the highest stakes like that. Sometimes I think maybe, and I don't mean that to sound condescending or anything like that. I just don't. I don't know. I've played really the highest stakes for many years, and I'm very lucky. Listen, I have people that'll bet on me through thick and thin. You know, it's not like I've always survived monetarily. I've gone broke and have people put me in. You know, people that believed in me when I was just a kid. You know, just being like, man, fuck it, let's go to Vegas, man. Fuck these guys. You know, and boom. You know, I'm all broke. You know, broke. I mean, it's like most people don't have the opportunity to just try it out in the biggest games. I had that opportunity. And it kind of changed me probably. I don't know if I can do that, but I do know that like my poker pursuits are I don't know. You know, I want to know what the highest level of poker is, what that even means. I want to know what that means today, in 5 years, in 10 years. It's a very beautiful journey to be on, and I don't want to just find a game I can beat and just beat it, but I really respect people that do that, and people have to do that to make a living, and not only that, that's a very rewarding thing in and of itself, and I do kind of want to do that. I just want it to be at the highest stakes, you know. I just do. I don't know. I just do. So I don't know, but you know, I don't want that to sound like demeaning to people that kind of carve out their own lane in life and do it, because really, like, to make it to these stakes, often you need to have kind of a screw loose. I don't know. You know, Bobby's room is a bunch of fucking psychos in there. It's not like, you know, there's some really great players out there who don't make it to these stakes. There's some great no limit players that don't make it to the high rollers. You know, internet guys who are just great fucking player, but it's like, you know, I'm gonna carry on living my life. I revere those guys. They cultivate ideas. They make it out of their living room and into the general public. And there's so many different players that I just kind of do what I do, and that's pursue poker to the fullest as a kind of full-time thing. If it wasn't a full-time thing, I see myself maybe walking away. I guess the short version of whatever the fuck I just said.
I mean, I guess also, you know, when I look at the idea of dropping down stakes, I don't know where you drop down stakes to, where if you're playing Pot Omaha online and you don't want to play for 150 anymore, there's a lot of 1, 2, 2, 4, you know, 3, 6, 5, 10 out there to play. Whereas,
by the way, the dropping down in stakes, I think I would happily, like, when I'm in Bellagio a lot, and they play like there's like a regular 10, 20 no limit or 25, 50 no limit with some good fucking players. Like, I don't want to go in there and and scrap with those guys, and I want to play.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that Bobby's Room is going on, and these are big mixed games and whatever. But like, if that just stopped, I'd be playing because I love to play. It's not
right.
It's not about the stakes for what they are. Like if the main game, for example, was $600 limit as opposed to like 15-3, which is what I play, I'd be playing because I love to play and I love to work on it. If it was 1-200, I'd be playing. It's not about the money for me. It's just about, I guess the kind of stimuli. It's just so ingrained in me. That's what I do. I play high rollers. I play high stake. I just have been for years. You know. So
I think unfortunately this is the mindset a lot of people have, and they don't make it at poker too. It's because they, and I know a lot of these guys. They just sort of refuse. They for whatever reason, they don't necessarily refuse, but they don't drop down. And you know, sometimes you mentioned obviously knowing people to be able to put you in some of these games or take pieces of you is like a very underrated aspect of poker and live poker specifically too.
Certainly.
But from knowing a lot of guys, when I talk with them, like, you know, like they're you know, my buddy's working in Wisconsin, right? Working at a factory right now. It's like, well, what happened? Well, I couldn't get myself to move down that stakes because it's like, for whatever reason, they just needed that constant desire to do that. It seems like you've been able to overcome that.
Well, I know what it's like to be on my own too and place the stakes that I played because that's all I could afford. You know, I certainly on the online days of my playing, I went everywhere from, you know how it is, you know, and I mean, I have a deep respect for dropping down in stakes due to financial reasons, due to objective sort of analysis. And, you know, I'm not playing my best. Let me go down in stakes and try to work on some ideas because they're more affordable situation to work on. Sometimes a smaller stakes game is tougher. It's by no means saying that the higher the stakes, the tougher the game. It's not always like that. There is a level of live seasoning at the highest stakes that unless you've felt it or been there, you don't quite know. There's some very gifted and savvy live players that make it to these sorts of stakes. And if you ever wonder if you're a little nervous in a pot, maybe I'm giving something away, those are the players that you are right to have those nerves and fears because they just know what's going on an almost spiritual level of live poker that comes with years and years of experience. The same way online players have gotten so many reps of things like texturally or you know, what is their range? What is my range? What's the EV? What's the play? This and that. GTO. The live guys have been like, this motherfucker's bluffing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they've been doing that for years. And it's like, even if you're balanced, even if you're like, you know what, no, I know the way I play, and no, I'm not going to give off. You are a little. It takes time. And that's where that live experience kind of comes in. So I have a deep appreciation for that craft as well, that element of poker that, you know, we continue to dismiss, and the more knowledge we gain, the more we expand as players, the more I think some of the old school stuff does drop off. We evolve, the game has evolved deeply, but there's a sense, you know, maybe you sense the pulse, you sense the breathe. It's just a sense. Those guys have some ninja sense up at those stakes.
Yeah, I think that's something you talk about during commentating is, you know, a lot of the poker theory now it's gone, you know, like Doug's always talking. He's like, you know, we kind of mentioned this before we got on here. This is the way you do it, right? It's like, it's don't look at this, don't look at that. This is the way you do things. And I think, especially playing live, those other things that aren't necessarily as provable, you know, you can't put it in a solver and say this is what you do.
Right.
Like you just sort of, you pick up on things and your ability to live tells, right? Is that like, I feel like that's like if some people say live tells and then certain players like, wow, I got live.
Yeah. Which you know, it's all like a weight. I mean, you have some guys that are incredibly GTO heavy in their approach, but of course they're making adaptive kind of decisions to the tournament climate and stack sizes and yada, yada, yada. And you have some players that maybe kind of are in a bit of a box in their approach. But that box is very hard to contend with, and they have an approach, and they have real preparation, and they have results. And it's like, you know, I think preparation is great to play at the highest levels. And we were saying, you know, I admire a guy like Doug because he puts himself out there in ways that it's not that easy to just be like, this is how to do it. I'm the best. I'm one of the best. But he is, you know, and it's like my approach to poker is kind of, I prep in the ways that I do, which I think all of us have a personal kind of intimacy with the way we really prepare and the true meat and potatoes of like what our game is. But I put in the prep and I put in the work, and then when I play, I try to draw upon all of that, everything that led me to here to select the right decision, you know. And I think for some, the way they model that out is a little simpler than for others, or a little less convoluted, or there might be more direct knowledge on how to do it this way, you know. It kind of master one way of playing versus this kind of melting pot of ideas, and it's just so interesting, the different approaches to the game and stuff. It's just endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, it sounds like you're getting more into, I guess, studying the idea of kind of what Doug might talk about, or some of those guys that play more in the box of strategy. It sounds like you're trying to incorporate that into your game.
All of them. You know, every player that I've come across at any stakes, I try to study them. I try to have my people, you know, the people that I work with, you know, yeah.
I remember last time a team was involved.
Yeah. We try to approach it together with kind of, you know, open arms, objective approach, and you know, all of those guys that play at high rollers, I have an idea of how I think that they play, you know, how I think their approach is. I try to lay in the cut, study what they're doing, take a look at what they're doing, incorporate what I can into my own game, make adjustments that I can that I think are called for. And I'm just it's an incredible journey. It's a lot of work. It's very difficult, and I'm just you know, yeah.
A lot of people in the chat are talking about, you know, your soothing voice. I think that's something that people always
mention. Yeah.
James says Nick should create I don't know what this means, but an ASMR channel. Your voice is soothing as fuck.
Well, thank you, James. You know, I never looked at my voice as being so soothing, but I appreciate that. You know, I'm happy to soothe.
Do you get that a lot from people where they talk about your voice and it just?
I've gotten that after the commentating. I am very, you know, appreciative of anyone who's connected with the soothe. And I know the soothe can be off-putting to some people. I can be very long-winded, and you know what I'm saying. Sorry, you know, nobody's for everybody.
Yeah. So we want to know about the Gus. Shout out to Gus, by the way. Gus is always in the chat. He's been in the chat for years now. He says, Joe, can you ask about the Molly's Game movie? So Molly's Game movie is coming out soon. It's with Molly Bloom. She was like a home game. For people that don't know, she ran home games. And I'm going to try to get her on the podcast, by the way, too. So she ran home games in Los Angeles and New York City, correct?
Los Angeles and New York City, some very high stakes games with celebrities, business people, and the occasional professional player alike. Myself, one of those players from time to time. I made an appearance here and there.
So what were those games like? What was that situation like?
You know, it's a pretty crazy scene, man. I mean, in New York, they would often rent out these very extravagant, you know, $2,000 room, $2,000 a night kind of hotel rooms. Mm-hmm. There were, it's what you would expect. Mm-hmm. You know, there were some really huge stakes games being played in these kind of places in New York City, and it was a collection of people from different walks of life. You know, you have the successful business people, got the occasional criminal kind of make their way in there, like, let's hope this dude settles, you know what I mean, or whatever. We don't know how this guy made money, but whatever. And then you got some pros that kind of weasel their way in, you know, and it was an amazing scene. I mean, it was.
So how did you get in those games? It sounds like they probably wouldn't want
very, very rarely got in them, but another very close friend of mine who, you know, will remain nameless, I guess, also was involved in kind of running games in New York. And there's a sort of, you know, it's a tight-knit community. And like, I played high stakes and I paid, you know, so that's always needed from time to time.
Yeah.
And I try to, you know, yuck it up with the boys. I'm not like in there tanking for 3 minutes. Like, if you're not sure in one of those games, to do something, you know, fast. Like, if you're like a pro, let's keep it moving, baby. You know what I mean? You don't need it. Does it queen? Okay, queen of club, six of dime. No, I wouldn't play this queen six. Play it. Whatever. Bet a little bigger than you would normally. Like, it's all good. So you got to kind of, you know. And I think I had a little hustly vibe in those games that I tried to, you know, like if I'm playing in like a high roller, it's like, doesn't matter. I'm just like, what is the fucking play? You know, like, but in those games, you gotta have fun.
Right. You gotta start opening up a little bit, be a little personable.
Yeah.
maybe have a drink once in a while.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think makes a lot of sense. There's still games still exist like that, where those sort of, that sort of feel. I imagine they do. I know in New York, I know in LA, I know games are still like that, but in New York City specifically, are there sort of games that still go like that you know about?
I'm here, I hear ramblings of stuff, but I'm so out of the like loop that I'm just kind of, I don't really know what's going on.
Do you ever feel like, it sounds like with these stakes and the players, obviously I know the rate's probably absurdly high. Do you ever feel like the desire to play those games as well, or do you think that?
If there's really high stakes games going on with a bunch of non-pros, sure, I would play. I wouldn't be able to not play, but it doesn't fuel me the way like competing versus the top players fuels me.
Right.
But yeah, I'd be there. Yeah.
Listen, if I'm driving down the street and there's a game going on,
it's like, hey, we're playing some whatever.
I might get the game. Yeah, I don't know. I hear there might be games like this in Vegas.
Yeah, you're right.
Allegedly.
And you're right. Allegedly, my phone is on, and allegedly, I might play.
I don't know. I don't think those games are supposed to be talked about kind of what happens in Vegas. So
yeah, exactly.
Kind of an interesting. Right. I feel like, there's poker world, there's the live casino world, there's the online world, there's the high stakes world, and there's the underground world where there's underground online sites. Shout out to all those. I know you guys are watching out there.
Yeah.
There's the underground live games, and it's like, and there ain't many pros in some of these games either, right? And it's like, and it's so weird because a lot of people in poker don't even know these things exist. Like, they don't.
No, they don't. And there's so many like if your whole life is like you're this, poker. I respect you as much as anybody at any level of poker, and like if you grind the underground online sites as a living, big ups to you. The underground live shit and whatever it is, there's different little communities within poker, and it's just always, man.
Oh yeah. Whiny the Net says, are we in the same room? We're actually not in the same room. Nick's currently over at the Badara right now, and I'm in my place here in Vegas. So yeah, it just looks like we're in the same room because we have it's just the current technology. I'm not really sure, but there was a comment in here earlier I wanted to go call out here. Robin Ennis says, Nick, I appreciate you bringing up mental health struggles. Hearing others talk about it makes some people feel like it's not just them that feel that way.
Hey, I appreciate you saying that. That's no, it's an incredibly isolating feeling. There's nothing worse than just feeling like the world isn't for you and just having this incredible sense of not wanting to be around for any of it. You feel, you're not alone, but you feel alone. And every once in a while, someone's like, "No, me too," or you feel a little less alone. So,
do you feel like the group of people you've had around you for many, many years have helped you get through those moments, or do you feel like poker itself helped you get through those moments where you could sort of drown yourself, and I wouldn't say drown yourself in poker, but sort of immerse yourself in poker and thinking about it, and that would help you get through periods of time?
I think both. The people that I've grown closest with often have some struggles of their own, or if not, certainly empathize, or just people that I feel comfortable to really be like, the dark times can be quite a lot for both of those things.
Both those things, yeah. Yashiel 10 says, Papi, I have an inclination to gambling. Doesn't sound good. Lost my whole bankroll, about 45K, which I made a month in a day.
Damn.
And this is a repetitive behavior. What can I do?
You want to take this one?
Well, he followed up too. He said, I guess the stakes I play are not changing anything in my life, and it's just that I play because I'm really good, I think, and love the game. Maybe if I jump stakes, I'll respect my bankroll more.
It's possible. It's possible. And so that's usually, like the standard method of thinking is that if it's not going great at the current stakes, don't jump up in stakes. But maybe that would offer a newfound respect. I don't know.
It seems like a bad foundation to have. Yeah. I mean, you say the money doesn't mean that much to you, or I don't know. It probably does. Like imagine you keep winning that amount of money and then lose that back in a day. Especially if you make that in a month and you lose it in a day, like and repeat that behavior, like that doesn't necessarily get better because you feel like you respect the money more. And I don't know, you think you're good at poker, but being good at poker doesn't necessarily mean losing the money you grinded in a month and fucking day. That doesn't mean, that's like a big problem and a big leak a lot of people have. And
true.
You can be good fundamentally or good in the theory part of things, but
it's true. And let's really consider, like, you know, you got your life, you're working, you're grinding. If you're putting yourself out there to just dust off 6 weeks of work in a day, it's a setback. You know, if you just stay a little more even keel with it, try to respect that bankroll. You know, really only torch it if it's a great spot. You know, I respect. Sometimes a great spot shows up and it's just like, it's go time, boys. I could go get a job. I'm you know what I mean? I'm playing.
Sure, yeah.
I'm in. I mean, at least that's the way I view it. But I've had a life of gambling, so I don't know.
Yeah. Evan P says, Nick, any reads on Conrad from Kansas City?
Any readings on Conrad from Kansas City?
No, but
Conrad's unreadable.
Conrad, is he a player in the?
Conrad plays. He's kind of been a friend of I know Conrad for many years, and he's a very good friend of a very close friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If it's the Conrad I'm thinking of,
I imagine they can't. It's probably not a different Conrad. I don't know many Conrads myself. So,
yeah.
Who are the guys that are regularly playing in that Bobby's Room game? That Doyle Brunson, is he still in there?
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
What a legend, man.
Yes. 113. He just turned, actually.
It's crazy. I believe it too.
He's amazing. I mean, he's been a true inspiration for me as a player. You know, you got to play with him to really see it and kind of feel it. It's just, you know, a living legend. I mean, amazing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Who else is there in those games right now?
You got Doyle. Scott Seaver is a big part of the game. Brian Rass plays as well. John Monet plays. Ilya, my friend, plays sometimes. David Oppenheim is a regular. Sulsky drops in sort of for the summers. Haxton kind of plays sometimes when he's around. So many. There's a big kind of Rolodex. Keith Lear plays the Jungle. Fuck man, so I've played quite a bit with the Jungle. Big shout out to Jungle, man. Love that guy. You know, he's really, you know, people that wear their heart on their sleeve and like kind of like, it doesn't, obviously he's a little nuts, you know, he knows he is, but he fucking tells it the way he thinks it is.
For sure.
At all times. And when you've just been around enough phony people, you're like, thank you, just breath of fresh air, just be yourself, man, just go for it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jennifer Armin plays. There's so many.
She's still playing too?
Yeah, she plays, yeah.
Another legend of the poker world.
Yeah,
she's been around, you know, before I started like 2007 when she was playing back then.
Yeah.
So
Mike the Hat, one of my best friends in poker, phenomenal player. Like a lot of people just wouldn't know him. He's in there playing world class. You know, just a great player that, you know, does it sort of thanklessly. He's not in there in tournaments or whatever. He's just playing. It's an inspiration to me. Those guys that just go in there and play. Mike Gordinsky plays. You know, another great young player. Like those guys fuel me. You know, I don't ever want to be a player from a certain era. We are, and I appreciate that. But I like to be malleable and flexible, and those guys inspire me. You know, Seaver really was a big. The inclusion of him into Bobby's Room really motivated me, no limit wise, which I needed, because dealing with this was a whole new thing for me. You know, like it had been a while, and it's different. Like tournaments, I kind of have my tournament ideas, but the game that we play in Bobby's Room is a cap form of no limit hold'em. Scotty really inspired me to better myself as a player, because I don't know what 4 years ago, maybe 5 years. I don't know how long he's really been playing the mixed games. And big shout out to him, because he fucking put in a lot of work and turned himself into a great mixed game player. And I really watched him year in and year out kind of just fight hard at the table. And his no limit game has always been kind of an inspiration to me. And playing with him day in, day out made me want to better myself and made me want to show up and you know, give him as many problems as I could, you know, just out of respect. And I mean, you know, Scott will never lay down ever, and he'll always think things through, work on things, and I like playing with him. Yeah, for that reason, just because it fuels, you know, a drive in me that's I think healthy.
Yeah, I know Scott enjoys the long sessions. Enjoys
Scotty's a warrior, man.
Enjoys playing.
Yeah, you guys.
Enjoys playing.
Scotty, man. Yeah, he's a fighter.
It seems like some people they start playing these live high stakes games and you never see them again.
Yeah, sure.
It's not like I don't know.
Yeah, you know, mixed games. I mean, it offers many little different challenges and subtle nuances into each game. You know, and an endless sea of ideas float around there and what to do. You know, Scotty's right at home trying to make sense of all that stuff, as are a lot of these guys.
Do you ever see a lot of guys like, I guess they shot taking that game when there's a really soft spot in the game? Do you see like a lot of regulars who kind of pop in once in a while?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're like up and comers, kind of maybe someone that people might know a little bit about, but
sure,
maybe it's kind of under the radar sort of thing.
I've played with so many of them over the years. You know, I've played with some very odd drop-ins too, like people that you wouldn't normally. You know, at the end of the day, I appreciate anybody who plays, and I don't categorize people the way I used to. You know, it's not some holier than thou thing. I just try to reserve judgment. You never know at this point. There's an open source of info floating around. Every passing year, people are just getting stronger and evolving as play. I don't know. I know the way that the language of the game speaks, and I have ideas, certainly. I'll be very judgmental about somebody that's like, what's your range based on what I know about you? You know what I mean? But beyond that, I welcome all challenges. And I've been outplayed in Bobby's room by people sometimes that you know, whoa, like what just happened here? So a stud, or this is my shit, you know, oh, hey, like what's going, man, this player's doing this, and this. I need to look at these things. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for helping me better myself. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't even know what the swings in that game. I mean, 1,500, 3,000 limit. I got to big.
Yeah, pretty big. I mean, 150 is not super unusual.
Right.
100 certainly isn't super unusual. Sometimes games 2, 4, 3, 6 was going on a little bit over the summer. 3, 6 gets to like, you know, and I'm like, how'd you do? Oh, I lost 470. It's like, oh, you know, and it sucks because like 3, 6 comes in, and then we're back in 15-3. So I got to make some call. I have a stakes I need to play. That's just, I'm comfy. You know what I'm saying? I might outsource a little bit of myself in a spot like that, but yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, 3-6. What's the PLO and element equivalent? I know it's cap 2, but what does that play for?
So we'll strip the blinds down in 15-3 to 5,800, and it'll be a 30K cap.
5,800.
5,800 on the blind. We'll put out 1,015, like the normal blinds for limit, and then we'll take 5 from the small and 7 from the big. And the game plays is 5,800, 1,200 dead, 30K cap.
Weird game. I remember I only played there one time. Shout out to
sometimes
me.
By the way, those change.
It was a weird blind. I was PLO, but it was a weird blind. It was like 203, and I was like, what? 200? I was like, it didn't make sense to me. And I didn't know that was a regular occurrence where they play very like 5/8 is a
some odd blind structures in there. You know, it's funny too because sometimes like you can really tell who's. Something you can glean little insights into people's preparation by the way they fight for certain blind structures. Like, you know, where I'm pretty easygoing with. I kind of let everything happen and then just try to draw upon my. I don't really think like where can I get the best edge, but I mean I do sometimes when it comes to like discussing the mix and stuff. But anyway,
5,800. I mean,
5,800
seems like it. That would incentivize you to not only defend more, but also open more from the late position as well.
No, different strokes for different folks. Listen, maybe tight is right. Who knows? You know what I mean? Let's just. Who knows?
I don't know, man. You gotta work on your game. Time in the lab. So 30 big blind. I gotta be honest, that doesn't sound fun to me. But 30 big blind cap with no limit. Potland Omaha. Potland Omaha is meant to be played. I guess it kind of comes into a different game. It plays differently when you're incinerate pots, but when you're in limit pots, it kind of just.
I'm gonna be straight up with you, Joey. I don't think the highest level of pot limit Omaha is being found inside Bobby's room. Big shout out to the Bobby's guys. These are some very high quality players across the board, but all of us collectively as a community are just horrific PLO players. Very emotional. You know, we live and die by each round of PLO. I'm all right with that. I suck at PLO. I've taken a look at some things, but hey, it's just not for me. But I'm in there fighting. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make sense of the game the way I can. I just don't have enough. Man, that game's crazy. No, I love PLO. It's a great game. I try to improve at PLO. You know, great content out there for PLO, man. You know.
some okay content out there right now. Shout out to Jay Nannis. He's putting out a lot of good content out there. Shout out to Phil Galfon's got a lot of good content out there.
I love Galfon.
Phil mentioned that his wife Farah has been playing, and
I played with her the other night. I just played. I didn't like the way I played a hand versus her. I was thinking about it for hours.
Yeah, Phil came in the pot. He's like, I was like, are you playing? Playing all high stakes? He's like, no, my wife does.
I know.
I was like, wait, what do you mean?
This is the coolest power couple. I mean, they're very nice too, very humble people. You know what I mean? Galfon has been an instrumental part of my game over the years, kind of, and he doesn't even know it. It's like that's another person I just appreciate a lot. When he goes out there and makes a video, provides content for people, anyone who does that, we appreciate, as a community. And he's very open about his process, and he's, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, most people appreciate. Some people, they don't necessarily.
Yeah, that's cool too.
They don't see it that way.
Yeah, that's fine.
How does she play?
Oh, right.
How did Farah play? Yeah,
we played for like 45 minutes, and she struck me as knowing what she's doing. But I don't like to speak too much one way or the other in general. But she's a player.
Yeah, Phil said she's making all the money in the family right now. I don't know. Listen, I don't know if that's going to be true always. If once poker kind of gets going off the ground, then I imagine that might start to make some money. I don't know, but
right. I mean,
you still pay attention to online, or you when's the last time you played online at all?
Yes, I try to play online when I can, and I do pay attention. I do. I certainly hold a special place in my heart for the 6 max no limit guys, and I try to watch, and every once in a while I'll hop in there, and then it's like a waiting list of 68 people. I'm like, fellas, relax. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to fucking play. What do you think? What do you think? This is some easy spot? What do you think? I'm all in. No, but yeah, I like to sweat. I like to get some tournaments in to kind of do ideas. And then my friends who play, I like to have like hand history reviews with them and stuff, because if you're not touching base with it, you have to touch base at this point. I mean, you do.
68 people long.
Yeah, boom. It's like, everybody relax.
Where do Eastern Europeans come from? It's
like Belarus, Germany, Belarus. It's like, all right, I get it, but tricks up my sleeve here. 35 years of experience, pal.
Where do you go when you play? I know you travel a little bit, so you kind of go. You go when you go to Mexico, you play, or
I like to kind of randomize it. I mean, I'll shoot up to Canada. If I go on a vacation anywhere out of the country, I will definitely hop in some MTTs. I like to go down to the islands sometimes. I mean, not a lot, but I will go for a week by myself sometimes and just play and make a little trip out of it.
Yeah. Get outside, get some sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe get on that.
Try.
Sample the local flavor.
I love the local flavors. I do. I love that stuff. Yeah.
Local traditions of the island. Maybe it's food, or whether it's.
I do. I stayed in Turks and Caicos once by myself for a few months. It was an interesting time. I got to know a few of the locals and felt the community. Big shout out Turks. Love you guys. Doubt there's a viewer from the Turks, but if there is, thank you for the hospitality. Really nice people down there.
Certainly could be a viewer from the Turks and Caicos. So it's a Poker Life podcast. We're diverse.
We may have
hit all countries.
You've gone global, Joey. I
don't know. Super high roll of commentating. Obviously, commentating is one thing that you get a lot of love for. And I think.
Yeah.
And I don't want no shots, no bang bang, whatever. But like now, when people watch some other commentary, they're like, we need. Where's Nick? Where's Nick? They want to have Nick in there because the commentary you provide is very just good, in terms of the way you're able to enunciate certain words, and you're able to break down certain situations in an easy to understand sort of way.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me in one regard, and then when people I've had more interaction with people after commentating than I did just as a player. I kind of never pursued the glory aspect of poker. It wasn't, I don't know. And then from commentary, I have a little taste of the glory, and I'm like, this feels pretty good. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the community. I want to keep doing a good job whenever I get a chance to get in the booth, and I want to keep trying to keep my finger on the pulse of the community. You guys help me. I hope I occasionally help somebody, but most of all, let's keep this entertaining and let's really enjoy this game. And you know, the other commentators have molded who I am as a commentator. We all work together, and anyone who steps in that booth gives you their views on the game, gives you, you know, or if it's a more lighthearted style of commentary that may resonate with more of the poker fans than say the hardcore. This is important too, and you know, it's just, we can have opinions, you know. I don't want to like bully people into like, it's like you can hate me as a commentator, it's fine, but we get in there and we kind of call the action and stuff, and I just really appreciate all of them. And you know, I feel if I commentate, I hear a little bit of every commentator in my head sometimes, you know, and it's just, I mean, different approaches and outlooks on the game are vital. You can't have one person in there. This is such a deep game. No one knows what they're doing, but we do kind of for today. And then it's like 2 years. Like I try to think my commentary. I don't want my commentary in 5 years to sound like ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So, but then I don't want to be like, oh, you do a little of this, a little of that. Who knows? Like I could do that for like I've mastered that. Oh, yeah. You know, like, well, you know, he's gonna, you know, we'll see what happens, and there it is. And it's like I really didn't say all that much, but the truth is, poker's very, very expansive, and I will try to give a little more of myself when I commentate, and a little more direct opinions, but also be vague enough to say, this is how he's probably looking at it, she's probably looking at it, this is how I look at it. You go look at it. You want to play like them? You know, go put that work in like them. You know, it's not. There's certain things that I think the community appreciates are left unsaid. You know, the whatever. And I don't really know where that's going, Joe. I'm done. That idea of you know what I'm saying? Just rambling on and on.
I mean, I think it also goes to show the difference in, you know, someone that has been playing poker almost every day for many, many, many years as well. Yeah. I mean, that person's ability to discuss poker on a certain level is going to be different than someone who pops in and out, you know, does other things as well too. And I think that's what we see with a lot of commentators in poker now is, you know, they're not necessarily like, they might play a lot, but they're not necessarily like 24/7 thinking about it for the past 10 years.
Yeah, let's take a step, right, like, let's take a step back and have some appreciation. You know, it's like, you can critique in this life. Like I don't try to rob people of that right or whatever. I get that, and that's cool, and our opinions or whatever. But it's like you said, you know, there's going to be little nuances sometimes that it's if you're fully dedicated to the game as a lifestyle, yeah, you're gonna see a few more things here and there or whatever it is. But remember, many people watching aren't. I don't want to ever get in there and have like an inside jokey kind of vibe with the high stakes guys or just like experienced no limit players, even online guys, and then not cater in some way to players that aren't there yet. They're like, man, maybe I love poker, maybe I don't. You know, we have to try to cultivate fans. We have to realize that it's important for all people to kind of understand the material. And I hope stylistically when I do it, I try to do it in a way where I'll break it down simply and then give little layered things to the advanced guys. You know, maybe even, I don't know, like sometimes I think like, if I was asking like, you know, Ike Caxton, if he was right here, and you know, I might throw a question to a guy like that, just in passing, you know, and I think it's interesting. Like, what do you think? And he might be like, oh yeah, Chuck, what's he? Maybe he'll be like, actually, I don't know. This is kind of an interesting spot. These complex spots, you know, where the prep merges with the kind of in a vacuum tournament decision, or where the storyline that you have been telling as a player over and over, or even the transgressions of the day, how it all rolls into that one moment where it's like, what's the play? It's not that easy. You know, it's like, it's not that easy for anybody.
I love the way, listen, I'm just taking in the way that you're great. You're talking about the hand. I was sitting there one, I think I was watching this where I was like, man, where the fuck does he get these words from, dude? Like, is he like,
dude, I come in there with those fancy words.
Like, where does he
listen,
get these words from?
I grew up in the pool room, you know, but my father is a writer, and he has a deep respect deep respect for the language. And every once in a while I throw like a fancy word. Listen, I'm not trying to sound like smart. I don't really know these fucking words, but I think it's funny. I'm being a little bit facetious, like, you know, it's the fact that I'm in there, I'm like pinching myself that I'm in there, you know. And but commentating something like the main event, you know, I'm going to put on a little bit of a I want to be professional. You know, I want to view it like I'm broadcasting this. I'm calling the action for people. Let's go, baby. You know what I mean? Like, it's not because it's easy as a game to kind of relax a little bit, but I'm as amped up for that as I am for, like, you know, the Super Bowl or something, because it's like, this means a lot to people watching. This is very exciting. Super High Roller Bowl, very exciting, great watch. There's no place I'd rather be than watching, and I want that exuberance to carry over to all situations. Even like, okay, limp the small blind, check, right? Take 20 seconds, check. Take 20 seconds, 10% pot, 68 seconds, fold. You know, it's like, but the nuances of, go ahead, 10%, 15%, check raise, these hand, this hand, and you can just go.
Oh, for sure.
The flow, but you gotta try to really love it. You just have to love it.
You have to love it.
Yeah, you have to. It's like,
I love the 10% pot.
Yeah, what's the perfect sizing? It's like, I don't know, but maybe this, no, maybe that, and that's where it happens. And we expand our own horizons, all of us. You know.
Art Poker says Joe feels like he's on a date. Listen, guys, every podcast I go on, it's like a podcast date for myself, man. I don't know. That's how I probably approach any. And it's like a date. I mean, it's not like a date with a person. You have a conversation with them. You have a discussion about poker, about, you know, something I've been doing for a long time. So that's the joy of the podcast. You get to talk to people who who usually also love poker. Normally,
us enjoying each other's company and the topic is a nice thing.
Exactly. Here we got a lot of people in the chat. You want to give me a shout out? You got a shout out to give maybe? Somebody might be watching out there.
Man, I mean, I don't want to.
Maybe a special lady out there, maybe a special guy out there watching, special friend, whatever. Maybe a crush. You got a poker crush. I don't know. You want to give her a shout out, something like that. I told you the other day what happened, right? Listen, guys, I want to tell you, okay? Stop texting me about this, okay?
Well,
I get these women, okay, and they send me these texts. They say, hey, you know, Nick's single. Yeah, I saw him on the pod. Or like, my favorite player, Nick Schulman. I love Nick Schulman, man. And I say, I'll get you in touch. You want me to get you in touch?
Listen.
The women seem to have a crush on these guys. Yeah.
But, you know, I'm a little shy with the ladies. I don't know. And I had a tough year relationship-wise. You know, big shout out my ex. You know, I love her, but you know, I'm out of the dating game for 20 years, and when I'm 53, I'll be right back, ladies. No, I'm kidding. I'm single. You know, I'm trying to make sense of the world around. You know,
So how do you feel about meeting women out here in beautiful Las Vegas? Obviously, where there's a lot of people come and go. And
man, you know, it's not always that. I'm not online in any way. You know, I don't do online dating. I'm just hoping some girl will just fall out of the sky and we'll just have like an amazing conversation and hit it off and whatever. But like, you know, I have my ups and downs. I mean, I do a little dating in New York, maybe, you know, it's here and there. And it's not like I can't date in Vegas. I just, you know, I got to get lucky. Right place, right time. I'm focused, baby. I'm working. If she shows up, she shows up.
I'm going to give you the GTO advice for you, and this is probably it's the game changer. So I think a lot of people really underrate Tinder and Bumble, especially in Vegas.
Okay.
And I've noticed that this is a very underrated thing because a lot of the people on there get some transplants, but a lot of locals too. Feel the same way. You know, they want to meet someone, but they like, you know, they don't right place, right time.
I know what you're saying.
They're not going to they're working or they're after.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And I think people like get on there and just sort of like have it there, swipe sometimes, whatever. But that's definitely a very good way, especially for you if you go play poker, if you go play pool, you go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
That's a good way to meet people that you would never actually meet because why would you meet them? Where would you go?
I feel this weird. I don't really do a lot of casual kind of dating. You know, we all kind of are who we are. It took me years to kind of reconcile this. Like, why am I such a pussy? But it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, you know, if the conversation isn't going somewhere, it's like I have a very hard time kind of sticking around, you know, so I kind of like don't like motivation wise. It's like, all right, you know, all right, let's see how this goes. But I'm like, I don't know, you know. But maybe I'll try it. I'll try that. Bumble's where you're in the same neighborhood.
No,
but the ladies have to.
They got to message you first.
All right,
it's really great. And also it has where, and now they would when they match you. Like I don't really swipe too much, but when I bet technically, I don't want to say stalkers are watching. I'm just going to not say anything myself, but you can see who matches you, and then you can choose to match them, and then usually the message rate's pretty high. So it's a listen. I'll be putting out that. I've been in the lab, so I mean,
the world has gotten so with social media, with the dating. I don't think it's so normal. Like, bang, got a date tonight. It's like for me, it's like, whoa, this is great.
Right,
Really?
yeah.
Like, we're meeting for a drink. I'm 33. I've never done this. I've only dated through, through happenstance. I'm living in like the 1920s here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's so weird to me, but then maybe I'll try it.
Yes, people in chat, this is actually one of the things I've been thinking about the most, because I always heard so many people talk about how impossible it is to date in Vegas, that they're guys and girls. I'm like, it can't be that fucking hard. It can't be that hard. Like, it's a matter of how you go upon doing it, how you go upon finding it. So to me, guys, this is a very topic that I care much about. I know you guys out there, I just don't care. You just don't care. It's okay. So if you do care, that's cool too. So Kristen says, I'll show up in Vegas soon. Well, there you go.
Hey, Kristen. How you doing?
Jeff Boski says Nick dated the hottest massage girl ever. I think, was she in the Men TV show you were on there?
She was. Yeah, she was.
All right.
Sweetheart.
I don't know much about that, but I guess when you think about that show, how did that show come to be where you ended up on, the MTV show? It seems like you'd have to seek something like that out.
No, I didn't seek it out. I basically got an email, do you want to come in for this audition from Full Tilt. At the time, I was a Full Tilt Red Pro. And they sent me the email. They were like, we'd really like if you did this. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then in the audition, they were asking me, how's your life? Is it really glamorous? I was like, nah, not really, man. I'm pretty fucking miserable, because I was like really depressed at the time. I'm like, no, it's not that. It's not this. I don't know. See you later. All right, guys, have a good one, right? And then they were like, yo, we want you on the show. And I was like, Jesus, right? But then I got inspired to kind of, in my own way, let people know, listen, I've struggled mentally, like severely, and it came off in a way where I think it was a little, they can put things together. I think 90% of the time we spent with each other was fairly uplifting, cool, positive stuff, and it was a 30-minute show of kind of this really, I think, sort of depressed person. It was what have you, but I certainly don't regret it, and I think he does an incredible job, and it's not, I was young. I mean, there's things I wouldn't do today that I was doing at the time, but it's all good. It's just a part of life, but that's how it came about, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like you were a massive degenerate in that episode in terms of betting on everything with the card throwing and the...
Yeah, I just wasn't, it was kind of one of these things. It's like we were just sort of fucking around. Like I just really just wasn't. Like the card throwing was just like, it's just like we weren't settling. Like I was almost fucking with them. Like this is what you think a poker player is. Here you go. Let's go do shots and throw cards. I don't know, sure. But it's like, really, no, this is not my life is like being sitting around by myself and thinking about shit, or just hanging out with a friend. It's normal. It's not like that. But it's a perception game out there.
Yeah, I think that I was like, damn, this kid's fucking firing away from the table. Like it's just basis. I was like, I didn't think that wasn't the impression I think I had of
at the time. I had like no feelings, so I just would kind of roll with the punt. Like, all right, what are we doing? I'll be like, all right, let's rent this car and drive down the strip. And,
by the way, that car was a GTO. So I mean,
exactly. And it's like, okay, guys, like it's like, I'm not cruising around the strip wearing a fucking fedora thinking like I'm something. You know what I mean? It's just, and then all of a sudden, like, did this really happen? But at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You learn. You learn. Don't do any form of anything ever where people can see. Even this. This is uncomfortable for me, but I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
uncomfortable.
No, it's not. I'm kidding. But more so than commentating, more so than I don't, giving interviews or doing stuff like this. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me. Yeah, I'm shy, I'm reserved, I'm private, and that's how I am. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, of course. It's
an uncommon thing.
Yeah, it just seems like so many people now are like, here I am, look at all this stuff that I'm doing. And it's like, man.
That's because those are the people that are trying to do that.
So yeah.
You consistently see
and by
those
the
people.
way, I respect those people too. I mean, they're putting out like content sometimes that is really fucking enjoyable. So good for them.
My buddy Jack Sinclair out there, fresh off his main event.
Oh, I remember watching you play, Jack. Great run.
Did Jack make the final table? I did make the final table. He got out last. We did the podcast before he made the final table, and then he went out last. And now he's been on the Instagram girl grind. I see him liking every woman on Instagram's page. So shout out to Jack, and keep hustling out there, kid. Keep sliding those DMs, my friend. I'll probably see you next time you're in Vegas, my young my young friend out there. What's kind of your, when you got the rest of the year here? I can't believe it's already October 9th. It's a little bit shocking to me right now. Mm-hmm. But what's your plan for the rest of this year? Are you going to be doing more commentating on any poker stuff? Or
I'm going to Texas to visit my close friend I was talking about before, Big Red, coming in 2 days. He's got a few little kids, an amazing family-wise. I'm really excited to see all of them and hang out, take a look at some poker stuff. And then from there, I'd like to spend some time in New York. This is usually for me, October and November, I like to use as the 2 months where I'm really at my most relaxed and kind of getting ready for the December grind, because December in Bobby's room is usually extremely active. The 5 Diamond, and it's kind of just a thing. December 1st, there's almost always games. It's just in the air. So yeah, New York, Texas first, maybe New York. Maybe some traveling beyond that for a weekend here or there. Maybe I'll meet that special young lady on Tinder, Bumble. Who knows?
I bet you meet someone on there now.
I probably,
like I said,
it's a numbers game, baby. I mean, I'm gonna meet somebody.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
someone will get that. Yeah.
It turns out women like tall guys that are in shape that may or may not be smart. I mean, I don't like. It's weird. I didn't know this also until I realized I was a taller too.
And we all offer something.
That's true. I believe.
Except as Louis C.K. said, but maybe for some people there's no one out there for you. There's someone out there for everybody. No, I'm kidding. There is.
Well, for all the guys in my chat, there's someone out there for them, because we got a lot of we got all the only winning players watch my podcast, right?
That's it. That's it.
Only winning poker players. That's all that comes around my podcast. So, Grimstar out there in the chat. Grimstar, what's up, Poppy? Says, "Where's Nick's DGen story?"
Where's my DGen story? As in, what does that mean?
Listen, he says, "What's a DGen story you have?"
I have so many DGen stories, Grimstar. I've made a lot of mistakes in my day. I mean, it's in my early 20s, it was one long DGen story. I don't know.
You mentioned on the show going from winning a tournament in 21, being up millions, and then being down, getting stake, having to borrow, and kind of
I mean,
that whole process.
I used to do this move with we would go to a sporting event. We would get the most expensive seats we could get, because we just did that, and then we would make a complimentary bet to pay for those seats. You know what I'm saying? Pay for them. Yeah. And sometimes they don't pay. Sometimes the first half is going so poorly, we're trying to pay for these seats multiple times. Things get a little out of hand. That's happened to me many times, Grimstar, many more times than I'm proud to admit. I've been there courtside at a game, torching it off hard.
Yeah, I've been there before. It's not a good feeling when you bet the money that the seats cost and you lose the bet too, and you're like,
no, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. Doc says, during the Poker Central podcast, he mentioned losing $20 million in a day. Is there a story to that? I imagine there is a story to that.
There's actually no story.
How could that be a story? Yeah.
I played someone who will remain nameless just because, you never know, but they're a very well-known banker, businessman who plays at the highest stakes, and I got beat. I was heavily pieced out, but I still lost an amount for myself that really, that was just a fucking bang, but what doesn't kill you, it definitely did make me stronger as a player. It was a real kind of rock bottom-y kind of thing, because I felt so bad for letting all these people down. It's only one match, and I mean, man, people were coming out of the woodworks that I lost, they were like, oh, hey, man, I lost 300,000 bang. I was like, Jesus, man, sorry, dude, I tried. Just didn't come together, which happens, but that was the situation. Yeah.
When was this? Long time ago, or is it recent?
I want to say 5 years. I believe 5 years. About exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Heads up match.
Yeah, heads up. Yeah. It was a weird match too. It was like the same bankroll, but a few of us jumped in. But it was mostly me doing the heavy lifting on the losing. But yeah. Heads up not fast too. Big stakes. It's 20 piece wasn't that crazy for the stakes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, people hear about these games like this, but you never really hear like.
I know.
A lot of people that play in these games.
I know.
Like people say, "Dan goes there and $50 million." Right.
Like, well, these things really go on.
Yeah,
man, it's all relative. Extremely wealthy. When you're talking about people with billions want to play, oh, they're gonna want to play pretty high. I mean, really high. But to them, it's just not that big. It's just the way it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, you mentioned on the on the MTV show you did, but I love how Urban Smith's MTV show, like it's yesterday. I think it was like eight
Still me though, you know.
Yeah,
so I get it.
Yeah, like 7 or 8 years ago, and it was just one of my favorite things I watched at the time. So like watched the first episode, and I was playing so much poker back then. And then I was like, wait, how the fuck is a poker player?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I was wondering that as it was going on.
Oh, like if you're thinking about what player would be on this show, it's you're quite quiet and high.
I know.
But yeah, it's just like a very, because when you're coming up then at that point, I'm like dreaming of getting these high stakes one day and playing high stakes, and then you see someone playing high stakes and they sort of are talking about
complaining about it.
They talk about how it changes them, and it makes them at the time. Maybe you're like, oh, okay, you don't think much about it, but obviously, once you start kind of experiencing moments like that, it makes a lot of sense. And one thing you talked about was how money made you change just the view of the world, and I guess now as you're getting older, how do you sort of view the idea of money and how it is in relation to the world? And
it's something I still grapple with. I mean, I don't have a direct path towards. For me, my success lies kind of in balancing my natural proclivity towards the depression side of things. At the time I did that show, I was really struggling, and sometimes it changes your whole outlook on everything. I'd like to make some money. I'd like to be smart with money, because why not? I think you get to a point where if you have some pride in yourself, and if you really make some money, you can do some good. So maybe someday, but I kind of look at it like if I approach things the way I approach them, with that sort of positivity for me, and then there's open arms and whatever, the money side of it either comes or it doesn't. And it's like, I don't think about money the way I think a lot of people think about it, and it's kind of hard to explain, but at the end of the day, I don't care that much about money. I don't. Right. But sometimes I like really nice things, like, I'll buy like a $2,000 pair of jeans or something, like whatever. But it's because it's not because I'm like, hey, look at me, you know what I mean? I have all this money. It's just because, like, man, these jeans are really well fucking made. I don't know, I can afford it. I don't know, who knows? Who cares?
These are $2,000 jeans right here?
No, these are not. But But yeah, I don't have any $2,000 jeans. I just said that to kind of. I do have some expensive jeans. I don't know why.
$2,000?
No, but expensive. More than you need to spend on jeans. But why do I do that? I don't know. Work hard, get some nice sneaks sometimes, whatever. I don't. Life is complicated.
A memory of me came to mind. I remember playing live poker at Aria during World Series, and I remember like you kind of like stumbling in at 3-4 a.m. looking like you've been playing for a long time. I was like, damn, man, it looks like you've been.
I operate on a very kind of. I try to see, I can come in there sometimes I look more disheveled than I am. They're like, long night, Nick, and I'm like, no, man, I'm all right. I'm drinking water, I'm eating fruits, baby, I'm sleeping, like I'm okay. Like it's just the way every once in a while I leave the house giving zero regard to like what I look like, and I can stroll into the poker room sometimes, like. Now I'm trying to dress a little better. I got the commentating. I can't saunter in there looking like I'm fucking homeless and deranged. No, offense to any homeless people watching this, but you know what I'm saying. Like I try to keep myself together a little bit.
Yeah. Kristen says, "What is Nick's tattoo?"
I have a few tattoos. This has a different story. It's a song that my brother wrote. He's a singer-songwriter. This is a movie poster to The Hustler, with like Paul Newman here, Piper Laurie there. And then I got one on my chest. Well, whatever. A little taste here. It's a pool cue going through a heart, and it has the name of a very close friend of mine, mentor of mine who passed a while ago from an overdose, and that's it. I think I'm out of the tattoo game. I kind of regret them, but I kind of like them. I don't know, but I think I might be done. But I might get a few more. Who knows?
Kind of regret getting all those, or just some of those, or what?
I don't know. Like, I don't really want to get. No, I don't regret them. I don't. But I just don't. These tattoos spoke to me at the time, and I haven't gotten that. I got my last one was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and I haven't gotten an itch to get another one.
I know what you mean. I think I'm the same kind of way where I got one tattoo, but it was at the time living in Canada, Vancouver. It's like,
memory.
I felt like I needed to get that.
Yeah, but sometimes I want to just go gangster and like, just because I just kind of do. I like it. I like them. I think they're cool.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it could happen. It could happen.
Listen, I can see one day.
But you can't just go like, get like a fucking some gangster something on my neck. You know what's happening? You know what I mean? No.
I can see you with a neck tattoo, brother. I'm telling you.
I can see it too. I've thought about it.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening. So. Let me see some more questions. No, I'm not. I can't. Vernon D-backs. I can't ask that question anymore, man. We're too mainstream. It's like a masturbation during playing poker question. It's
masturbation during.
You ever masturbate while playing poker like online? So we used to talk about this a lot.
Listen.
Yeah, and I talked about how I would do that sometimes during long sessions to relieve the tilt sometimes, and now it's like a question he wants me to ask every single person.
The answer is yes.
No, I'm telling you, I think it's a good way to help you get yourself off tilt. Sometimes
I've done that thing live before. It happens. No, it just that one happens.
Live, huh?
Yeah, right. And in Bobby's room, every once in a while, you just play tight for a little while.
I've never done that live, so that's interesting.
I've never done that either. I
don't think I could. Could I do that live? Well,
no offense to Doyle Bronson, but I feel like that just sitting with him. I don't know if I could perform in that situation.
Yeah, I've been reading some weird shit lately. this Harvey Weinstein guy, he's like,
what the fuck is it with these guys, man? Can we respect all human beings and stop assaulting fucking people? What are these guys doing?
I don't know, man. It's wild to see like a guy who gets off on going in front of women like, hey, can I go plans? What the fuck is going on? I didn't know this was a thing. I'm so freaking out about this.
Dude, even if that is your thing, just find one woman who consensually allows you to be yourself. And then go nuts, Harvey. But you can't just spring that shit on random people. I mean, no, fuck those guys, man.
Yeah.
Enough.
I'm happy. I don't think this happens in poker where these things are going on with the. There's always these people in power and like this high up who may or may not control things. It feels like in poker that isn't necessarily. I don't know about it existing. I feel like I might be a person they were trying to control in some ways, because they always care about people say it, but it doesn't seem like that's a big thing in poker, luckily.
I think this poker community is a pretty good one. As far as things go. I mean, you see different viewpoints come together respectfully, usually. I mean, whether it's political, people obviously people are passionate about the political climate today, but nonetheless, I like to think most of us are pretty accepting of anyone's kind of lifestyle choice or just people who we are as people, men, women come together, people of all different races, all different, whatever it is. You want to come and play, that's what we do. We play poker, and I certainly respect everybody. I think people should be treated equally. I mean, what the fuck?
So you hear that out there, guys? Don't do that, man.
Yeah, man. Don't be haters.
Girls want to kiss you. Don't. Don't take it out, man. Please.
Yeah. I don't know where the assault is. It assault if you just ask a creepy question? If Harvey rolls up and he's like, hey, can I jerk off on your fucking stereo or something? Is that assault? No, I don't know.
I gotta ask.
Don't do that though. If you have to ask yourself, is this assault?
It's probably
don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let's do a couple questions from the chat here. Could be about anything. Let's see here. Sammy Farah still pop in there and stuff. Pop in Bobby's room. Just Leon asks.
Does Sammy still pop in? Is that the question? Sammy's a pop in kind of guy because he doesn't live in Vegas, and he does sporadically, but he makes appearances. Yeah, he usually starts big PLO games, and I'm more of a mixed game guy. So Sammy's kind of thing is he'll pop up and he likes to play big stakes PLO from time to time. Yeah.
He wrote a PLO book too. Great book.
Sammy did?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I didn't know that.
He's not a fan of folding pre-flop, which I completely respect, and I think that's the way that Pop Mama should be played too. So
I love it, and anything that advocates just getting in there and making that style work, respect.
Brian Conley says most fun player outside of taking their money, they think.
That's a good question, Brian. Most fun. I mean, like when you're close with my close friends, we have fun because we can kind of rag on each other and stuff for a little bit, we obviously, but That's a tough one, Brian. I have to think about that.
Val has a major obsession to ask about John Hennigan. I think he's only brought it up 35 times. So what about John Hennigan?
Great guy, very close friend of mine. Can't really say enough about how much he's influenced my sort of outlook on the game and stuff like that. And he is a very gifted player. I mean, even kind of today. I mean, what John has is the gift of kind of adaptation. He's sort of a shapeshifter as a player. Very tricky, very throw different looks at you kind of type of thing. And he thinks incredibly quickly, which can rattle people playing limit. He makes his decisions almost instantaneously, and yet if you discuss these spots with him post game, he's got like instant analysis for you. You know, it's pretty amazing. Great player. Overall, fucking beast, legend.
What's Done in the Dark says, any tips on going through big downswings in live poker?
Handle it in stride. Try to ask yourself why this happened. You know, there's going to be run bads, and I mean, for me, sometimes I overblame myself for run bads. I mean, try to look at the material and forgive yourself a bit for the feeling. You know, it's going to suck. It's going to sting. You know, if you want it, if this means something to you, keep it rolling. Stay motivated. But you know, these downswings, I think they affect us differently, and that just sort of is what it is too. Know yourself. Know who you are. Know how this affects you. If it's really brutal and you need a day off and whatever, and you need to just vent in some other capacity, do it. If you feel like you can handle it in stride, do that. You know.
Yeah, I wonder how I haven't played too much live poker, thank God. But no, live.
No, it's all good. It's all good, Joey.
I cannot. I only appreciate online just when I go play live now. Yeah. Like when I play live, I'm like, fuck, dude, just amazing. So I haven't really like gone through that point where I've gone through really big downswings live, but I don't know how I would deal with, because like it's weird. You have to physically go to this casino and drive 30, and you got to look at the guys, and you know, and you play 30 hands an hour. So it just seems
I'm used to the online realm too, where it's like live downswings just happen.
Right.
I mean, they can happen over extended periods of time sometimes, because there is not that big of a sample size. So if you're playing live kind of for a living, you must accept this. You must control what you can and accept a little bit of what you can't. But this is sort of the nature of the beast of playing live.
Yeah, man, it's gotta be tough. I just can't. Like continuous days where you go play 10 hours every day. It seems like tournaments. I don't know how people do the tournaments. Like that seems.
You know, man. To me, it's like sport almost. You know, I really like. I train. I fucking prepare. And when I sit down and I play live, it's like, you know, I take a deep breath and as humbly as I could say this, like I'm like this is my table today. Or if it's not my table, I'm gonna make my presence felt today. And I revel in that climate and that competition and incorporating all of the elements. So it's not, I think when online players think about poker, they think about poker in the way that they kind of understand it, which is really the real essence of what poker is the way an online player would describe it. But then, of course, there are all those intangibles playing live that add, to me, this layer of enjoyability and stuff like that. That it's a different thing, you know. It's just.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I imagine there's just some things that once you play a lot of live, you can kind of take enjoyment in and take a challenge in, whereas you don't experience that playing.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you have, man, live poker is a weird thing because you have this whole dynamic of like you've told this story up until this point about who you are. You know, even you're friendly with some of these guys you play with a lot. Then you play. All that friendly shit, you know, it all adds into this weird kind of psychopathic, you know, what's the play? Sometimes these thoughts come to you that are, it's an odd thing. I'm really close with a couple players in that game, you know, and we share intimate details about kind of our views on poker. You know, I've had late nights with Mike the Hat. I've had late nights with Gordo. I've had late nights with Seaver. I've had late nights with a lot of these guys, you know, and it's like, then we play. And it's just like, it's a weird thing. So it's a kind of weird dynamic, but at the end of the day, you got to do it for you. You got to feel like you belong there for you and your prep, and much respect to the opposition. This is just about challenging yourself and stuff like that. And part of being a real deal seasoned live pro is handling those downswings in stride and not coming completely unglued. Like I've done many, many times in my life, and I've winged the cards across the table, I've stormed out, I've thrown chips in the air, it's all happened. I've paid my dues, and I can now finally say I'm a little more centered than I used to be. So try to center yourself.
Did you think when you were younger that when you were this age that you would be farther ahead in terms of your development, in terms of your handling situations? I think myself, like I thought I would have been. And I think like 30-year-old guys, you know, like they got it all figured out when they're younger.
Yeah, I never even thought about like the future when I was younger too much, because I was kind of just trying to make it through the day, and like, you know, it's only recently that I've tried to. Also, part of it, like once I started commentating, like I can't just be this psycho asshole anymore. I have to try to keep it together a little now. Like, I'm forced to. It's like, and it's not. I'm happy because it's made me realize. Try to be the person you actually are. Like I'm a nice guy deep down who has a weird sort of killer instinct, and I try to balance those. I'm honorable, I'm ethical, I just like to fight, I like to battle, and let's go. And it's like, it's okay to be that and not be this like kind of arrogant like prick, you know. You can have both. Like I'm not scared to say I want it badly. I go out there and I fight hard, and it's sort of war when we're out there, but it's war out of, you know, I respect you guys, you're here, you've brought all your ideas, all your prep, and you're saying I'm here to play. That's what I'm saying. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. So I guess Poker Masters, you probably really enjoyed that idea of these 5 series of tournaments.
Man, yeah.
You know, like that sort of thing.
It's amazing. You know, the bittersweet aspect of commentating is that these are some great events that I've been fortunate enough to commentate. And yeah, the Poker Masters is just feels so alive being out there, man. It's so much fun.
Sweet. I just thought about that. Why don't you gotta play the super high roller?
I want to play that shit. I know.
But how can you not? Like after watching, I don't know how you, especially with.
It's one tournament. It's one tournament. You know, there's others. I mean, maybe one day I'll play, but you know, who knows?
Great tournament though. You know,
it's a great tournament.
Different lineup than was in the 50s and 100 case. Right?
You know,
that was also televised too. In those
yeah. The cool thing about what's going on now with Poker Go and you know, just with poker in general, we have a lot of stuff to play, a lot of content here at the Aria right down the street, man. I'm playing high rollers with some very gifted, talented, prepared, studious players, and they help fuel me, and it's right down the street from my house. I get to get in there and scrap with some of the best.
Yeah, it's always pretty good. You kind of live like, I live just a little bit down from the call it like the track, and that's where the action goes down.
Right there, right?
You're like right in that.
Yeah. I might get a house at some point, or I don't know, but yeah, I'm there. You know, and also just to be clear, like when you play, like if I play a $1,500 no limit at the World Series, that gets treated with the same respect if I play a high roller or I'm playing bobbies. That's true. That sounds like some bullshit, but it's not. That's my approach.
You play those?
Sometimes because I love to play no limit and I want to play. You know, and if I feel like playing, I'll play. There might be a game of bobbies, but I feel like playing no limit hold'em today. I'll play. You know, it's really what I love to do is play no limit.
I don't sound like we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna convert you to the great game of Pop in Omaha, but
it could happen.
Yeah,
it could happen.
Man, you love the no limit. I don't even want to take you away from 2-card Pop in Omaha. You know, 2-card PLO. I know it's a great game too, but
man, PLO. You know, sometimes you get it in luck guys. You know, we're all in. I don't know what's going. I know there's a lot of nuances to that game.
Yeah, it kind of is sometimes though. You know, it's like Phil Galfani's to make a gentleman's agreement. You guys make an agreement to get all in on the flop. It's sort of a standard thing.
I think the truth of it is that great PLO players are so refined in their approach. When you know you're outclassed, you know you're outclassed. And I love PLO. I play it and I try my best, but it hasn't. I have not put the time in to get to where you need to be you know, world class at a game like that. I mean, that is a complex animal to tackle.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I always think about it whenever I always say, like, people like, how would I learn PLO? I'm like, oh, it's pretty. I used to say this. I'm like, oh, it's easy. It's easy. And I start, like, if I work with them, I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, it's not so easy, right?
Okay, what do I do in the cutoff here? I'm like, top here.
The only times I like stop and smell the roses is if I talk with a complete beginner. That was kind of interesting in starting to play like no limit. You know, what would you recommend? And then I'll be like, wow. And I'll think back to myself at 16, like, you know, and just this entire journey. And it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's, you know, it's not easy. Could I perhaps, Joey, have a 1-minute break?
Go ahead.
Right back.
Go ahead. I'll give some shout outs. Who we got out here, guys? We got a bathroom? Yeah. More there. Multiple bathrooms in this place somehow. Who we got in the chat out here, guys? Chad Anzalone. What's up, Puppy? What's happening, man? FTHC 100. Mario Esco out there. My girl, Kristen, of course. What's up, Kristen? Let me know if you're in Vegas. Let's see who else we got out here. Who else we got? Mr. Mark R. Filarowski. What's up, Puppy? What's happening? Jonathan Dappa. What's up, man? Edison. What's up, Edison? What's going on, brother? Patrick Curran had to get a timeout, acting like a dork. Andrew Fudala. What's up, Andrew? QQIES. Jack Fleming. Dave Anderson. Joel Bradenberg. What's up, Joel? What's happening, brother? Nicholas Mollison, as always, Poppy. What's happening, man? Joshua Whitaker. What's up, man? Moving to Vegas in January. Love the content. Much love, Joshua. Much love. You'll enjoy it out here. Vegas is a great place. It's a great place out here, man. I love it here so much. It's the view of the strip right here. It's awesome, man. It's kind of a dream come true in a lot of ways, thinking about being in Vegas full time out here. It's something. I'm trying not to let it lose the mystique that it always had for me growing up. So. Justin Leon says, solid choice. Big respect to Joey on the Vegas productive grind. That's very questionable. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Glenn Roberts, what's up, Poppy? What's happening, brother? Doc Ober says, you inspired me to play some Zoom Pop Living Omaha, Poppy. Up 3 buy-ins already. Nice work, Doc. Keep it up. Keep it up, man. Keep that run good alive. Keep that heart. Keep that soul alive. And when I moved to Vegas, I came here to Vegas for the summertime. I haven't left.
Yep.
I came
this summer.
Yes.
This is when you officially moved to Vegas?
Yes, I came here in June, and I was thinking, I was like, yeah, yep. Why would I? Everyone comes here, like everyone's close. Everyone, like people pop in town all the time.
Yeah.
It's just
this Vegas has a lot to offer, man. It's actually a pretty cool town.
Yeah, man.
With all the cliches about how the elements of it that are tough, there's a lot of great stuff in this city.
What's your favorite thing to do out here besides polka?
I don't actually do anything, but no, I'm kidding. I like to go to Summerlin. I like to eat off the strip. I have some places that I like to go.
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant?
Restaurants
probably is Prime at the Bellagio.
Okay.
I love that place. Went to a place the other night, Chef Mark's, that Eric Seidel recommended to me. Outstanding. There's a sushi place, Yui, very popular amongst the poker players, also great.
Yui?
Yui, Y-U-I. Yui, dude.
Okay.
Yui, you don't know about this unless you, yeah.
Shout out to Yui, man.
Yeah, Yui's great. And I don't know, there's a lot of places.
I find it very puzzling how there's so many damn food options here. Like you'll go to one strip mall and there'll be 15 to 20 different places to eat, and the next street is another strip mall, 15, 20 places to eat. It's weird. Like I never seen like it. There's so many food options in this like small little like a vicinity of the strip a couple blocks over, and it's pretty wild. So it's you feel like you could try a new food option. Maybe I should do that. Try a new food option all the time. No, you can. There's a lot of different like ethnicities represented here too. My buddy Andy came into town, and we had some like Indian. He was like, "Let's get some Ethiopian." It's like, There's all sorts of ethnicities of foods here. Shout out to Bulgaria. Shout out to one of my favorite Bulgarian restaurants out there.
Really?
I'm trying to think about that.
Big shout out to Bulgaria.
I give a shout out to Bulgaria out there. Megan Soup says, Yui, was trying to find sushi in Vegas while visiting. Yeah.
Yui, so not so easy on the wallet though.
In Vegas, there's two out. There's the all-you-can-eat sushi places, which I love, like Umiya, which is at Flamingo, right down from Rio. There's the one on Spring Mountain, which is that one. But there's like they're all $25. You basically go there, eat all you can eat. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it in my life. But then they got these places like that.
The opposite. Here's a few pieces of fish for all you can spend.
Right. Yeah. It's very different in terms of pricing for things. And I find that sort of. I don't know the difference. I'm not quite to that level of understanding food like some people are, where they're like, oh, this fish is.
Neither am I. I mean, they have an incredible like ambiance there. You could just feel the quality, like emanating from the place, and it's an enjoyable experience. So when it comes to sushi, you can be a little snobby about that because it's like it's raw. I mean, it's kind of crazy, raw fish. Like I don't know, right? But I'll eat all sorts of sushi. Don't get me wrong. That place is just. I mean, it's delicious. You don't need to know the nuances to know, like, man, that's really delicious.
Oh, it's coming from there. I'm like, where is this? Like, there's like a light beam on you. I'm like looking where it's coming from right now. So I don't know. It's Joe Breaker says, ask Nick if he listens to music. And so What was the last album you listened to that was good?
Okay. The last album too, I listened to the album I've been listening to lately is 2 Chainz, his latest album. Pretty Girls Love Trap Music.
Okay.
It's just doing it. It's doing it.
Unexpected, but okay.
It's doing it for me. I'm a big hip hop fan.
Me too.
I just saw Nas in LA.
Oh, you told me the other day. Yeah.
Love Nas. You know, I mean, I love. I like a lot of different kind of rap songs as far as the kind of rhythm of my life. You know, but then I have a real soft spot for things like Led Zeppelin and stuff from that era. And I've tried to expand my musical horizons a little bit, but it seems like I always go back towards gangster or kind of trap rap music as what I feel like listening to on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I've been realizing there's a lot of live music concerts here in Vegas as well. Like it's not even just like at clubs, but I mean, there's just so many of these little venues around here. Like next weekend. It's like Weekend and Gucci Mane are gonna be here. I'm like,
dude,
I go to that like next Saturday or something.
I saw Kendrick at T-Mobile.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's like,
yeah,
they just all come through here. It's pretty
yeah,
wild
I saw Seaver and Dan Smith there. And it was cool. I just knew I would run into them there. Yeah, Kendrick. Yeah, they were just.
Those boys like to turn up.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Those boys enjoy getting after things.
Seaver too. They all have these very sort of eclectic, advanced musical. You know, Kendrick, and then some obscure like indie. But I'm just like the rap. You know, I don't. it's
Yeah. I'll take one more question, guys, in the chat, and then we'll wrap things up here. But yeah, my next podcast is going to be Wednesday. We're going to have Lauren Roberts on, and I know a lot of people have some commentary to say about Lauren from some of the things they've seen with her on television with Poker Cash Game, stuff like that. And I think she's got a pretty cool story. I think she's an interesting person just from talking with her. So I'm cool, excited to have her on the podcast on Wednesday. And then my buddy John Beaupre, a long-time high-stakes top animal player, create a lot of really great content. Been a good friend of mine for a while. Have him on the podcast Thursday, and we think I should get on the podcast, man. 2 podcast guests. Do you think might be good?
Interesting.
Yeah, you might want to hear more about her, see more about her, or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, have you had Gordinsky on? Have you had Mike the Hat on? Kind of this. I don't even know if he, it's. I mean, these guys are interesting.
Gordo, a friend of mine. I've had him on before.
He's been on.
Certainly could do an update with Gordo as well too.
Gordo update. Never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many players that come to mind, honestly. But like it's
tough to narrow down.
Yeah, man. Just keep trying to pluck people that sort of you will feel like talking to. I guess
that's kind of what I try to do.
You're doing an amazing job and service for poker. I mean, we appreciate it. Like I don't know, man. I've had a lot of late nights watching your podcasts in bed, like with players I respect, and it's a really cool thing in what you're doing, man. Just keep it going.
I'm very happy to hear that. I mean,
the community really appreciates you, and it's nice. And you're kind of like the Howard Stern of our thing, or whatever it is, man. You get these interviews that it's nice to hear what these players have to say, and it's a really cool thing, man.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Some people said that before, and then I started watching Howard Stern, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, because he balances, like, he asks some questions in line.
He's like, I love Howard.
Yeah, and then he gets out of line a little bit questions.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
Like, he's like, oh, like, how many chicks you fuck?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. That's.
But at the end of the day, he cares, and
Yeah, he's
right.
Yeah, he's great at it too, for sure. So, yeah, I think one person, like, you mentioned like Bank Boyle, obviously. He's just such an iconic, legendary,
of course,
poker player figure. It's wild, man.
Of course, Doyle. And I mean, for me, with the Bobby's Room players, I know them so intimately.
Yeah,
that obviously,
sure.
I wouldn't learn too much from the podcast because we've spent years playing with them. I mean, it's a weird thing. There's so many different players now from all around the world.
It really is. When you think about it, you make a list of people. You're like, wow, what's up? Patrick Antonius, like, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, there you go.
Gus
Hansen would be a good list.
Gussie. Guy's a legend. So I'm sure he's popped in Bobby's Room maybe a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe enjoyed his company.
Played with Gus for years. One of the funniest people in the history of funny. I don't think a lot of people know that. That's why I said
Gus Hansen?
Hilarious.
He seems very funny.
I've heard stories. Hilarious.
Let me find more questions from the chat here. Anything come to mind? Maybe you might want to on your mind that you might want to talk about. But
I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Andy Backen, starting a website that's coming soon, or maybe it'll be a social media kind of thing. It's gonna be called Andy's Rants. This has been a very organic thing that's been cultivated. He just sends his rants to a close group of people, usually 1 to 2 minute rants. He's just a fucking genius, man. He's a humble guy, but he's hilarious. Very, like, I would say Larry David-esque. He has little issues with a lot of elements of the world that I think, you know, a lot of us can relate to. Very funny, nice source of, and this is something that I think we've all pushed him to kind of do, and I'm hoping he does that, because people would enjoy it. I want to shout out someone who I don't shout out enough, very close friend, family at this point, my friend Steve Lipsky, basically like helped raise me. I lived with him when I was 16 and younger even, and another pool player who my beginnings in poker were playing with him. You know, we were playing online, home games, society billiards, the whole gang there, my partner there, and just the pool room in general in Manhattan. Love that place. Love you guys. And you know, if you're in New York, drop by. Drop by.
I love it, man. I love it. John Smith says, shout out Nick Schulman.
Who says that?
I don't know. John Smith.
Listen, I have a John Smith from the pool room also, who's like a family to me, mentor to me, love him more than anything. I got so many people like that. You know, you say one person, and then it's like there's others, like all you guys who've been part of my life, man. I appreciate everybody. You know, it's hard to narrow it down to like one shout out, but,
for sure.
But yeah,
for sure. All right, we'll kind of leave it on that, guys. Guys in chat, if we don't have social media, right? I'm
not on social media, but you know, maybe I'll run into some of you guys, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, if they run into you, should they say what's up? Go say hi.
Absolutely.
You know, should be approached. Yeah, or you gonna be like,
yeah, I'm very approachable. My abstinence from social media is I am not trying to send a message like I don't want to be spoken to. It's a different thing for me at all. You know, I appreciate the interaction with people for sure.
Cool. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought. Comment below. If you've seen Nick in Vegas, man, go tell him what's up. Let him know what you think. Ask him a question, whatever. And I'll be back Wednesday, like I said. Find these podcasts on iTunes. Search Poker Live Podcast. And if you happen to be watching this, you don't know about the Peel University ends today. That link's below for that thing. And I think that's all I got. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, live at the bike tonight. I'll be back. I'm live at the bike show at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So in about 3 hours with I'll be back then. So check that out. That's it. Peace out. Adios. Thanks, brother.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
See you guys later. Take care. Much love.